The introduction of the first ever superliner caught the world by surprise. Its innovative engineering laid the foundations of faster, safer and more larger ships. Of course, let's not forget its revolutionary partners, like the IMS Titanic and the SS City of New York, who helped in creating the perfect superliner for the 19th century. But records were meant to be broken, and soon enough, Cunard Line investigated into the success towards the superliner and started to design its own superliner. Cunard Line set out to design one of the most unthinkable ships of its time, but this time it would be twice the expectations of the public. Thus, a new type of ships were born with the launch of the first ever British Verstacker, the IMS Lusitania and her sister Mauretania. These spectacular ships were designed to outperform the Kaiser class. It was nearly twice as large as the German superliner and carried even more capacity and cargo. But that wasn't the main attraction though. This ship's gross tonnage was 39,000, and ships like these were meant to be slow, but Cunard changed that concept. Sir Charles Algernon Parsons was a British engineer who not only created the compound steam engine, but created a better version of his own notable invention. He created the steam turbine engine to efficiently convert steam energy into rotational energy. His design vastly outperformed traditional reciprocating steam engines in terms of power, speed, and smooth operation. This engine was tested on an experimental ship, namely Turbina, and once it was tested, it became the fastest ship in its time, at 34 knots. With the steam turbine engine fitted into the Lusitania, it reached a top speed of 25 knots, easily earning the Blue Ribbon. But speed wasn't their only claim to fame. These ships were floating palaces, combining grandeur and comfort. The Lusitania wasn't alone. She had a sister ship called the Mauretania, and they both conquered the shipping industry. The Lusitania and Mauretania featured state-of-the-art amenities, electric elevators, lavish dining saloons, smoking rooms, and spacious accommodations for first-class passengers. For second- and third-class passengers, the experience was no longer about mere survival, it was about arriving in style. But Lusitania's legacy also carried a darker chapter, as her tragic sinking in 1915 not only ended her illustrious career, but also altered the course of world history. Just for years after Lusitania's debut, the Olympic set sail in 1911, a ship that represented a new era of luxury and scale. Built by the White Star Line, Olympic was the first of her class, introducing features that prioritized comfort and safety over speed. Olympic's interiors were a floating palace. Her grand staircase, inspired by Edwardian opulence, and her first-class suites rivaled the finest hotels on land. She redefined what it meant to travel in style. Of course, the Olympic wasn't just the only ship. She had a twin sister ship, namely the most famous Titanic. Titanic was just a copy of Olympic, but the only difference was her interiors. She was decorated with one of the most luxurious decorations to have ever lived. This of course came with a cost. You'd have to be very wealthy to ride on Titanic's first-class rooms. While steerage could resemble a budget ticket on a modern cruise. Unfortunately, even before Titanic could finish his maiden voyage, an iceberg struck the vessel, causing it to sink, leading it to be one of the most deadliest peacetime maritime sinkings of the century. While this indeed ruined the reputation of safety placed into ocean liners, they learned the mistakes made into what caused so many deaths in the Titanic. The lack of lifeboats had been the reason, and many ocean liners started to learn from the tragedy and reinforce ships with even more lifeboats. And for the Olympic, it became a pioneer of safety. She wasn't just an icon of luxury, she was a testament to lessons learned and a symbol of resilience. Nicknamed the Old Reliable, the Olympic would serve the First World War and would have a better career than Titanic and her other sister ship. For now, it was British ships that were innovating ocean liners and making them more reliable than ever. But it wasn't just the British. A few decades ago, the Germans created the first ever superliner, but ever since then it was primarily the British that continued on improving it. Germany's Hamburg America line sought to rival Britain's Cunard and White Star line with their own fleet of massive ocean liners. After consideration amount of planning and logistics, in 1913, the Germans once again impressed the world. Enter the Imperator, launched in 1913, and her sister ship, the Vaterland, in 1914. These ships were part of Albert Ballin's vision to create the largest, most luxurious vessels the world had ever seen. Instead of the though, the Imperator class showed 3. But these funnels were large. In fact, at the time of his launch, the Imperator became the largest ship. Just like other ships, the Imperator had astonishing interior. Lavish dining rooms, grand staircases, and ornate ballrooms rivaled the elegance of European palaces. Imperator's famous landmark, though, was his impressive bronze eagle figurehead, which symbolized German pride and power. Let's also not forget Imperator's sister ship Vaterland, who, just like the Imperator, was large, luxurious and fast. Even larger than her sister, at 950 feet and 54,000 to 182 tons, she became the pride of Germany, fitted with one of the most well-decorated and short breathtaking designs. The Vaterland, in particular, was a marvel of German innovation. Unfortunately, the Imperator and Vaterland's fates were shaped by the outbreak of World War I. After Germany lost World War I, the Imperator was given to the British and renamed RMS Berengaria. The Imperator-class ships would follow suit. The Vaterland was trapped under American authority in the New York harbor and eventually renamed the SS Leviathan after the war ended. Despite these losers, these ships would be cemented onto history as the peak of German innovation. And now, we arrive at the final chapter of this journey through the second evolution of ocean liners. Meet the RMS Aquitania. The Aquitania was built by the Cunard line in 1914 to bridge the gap between luxury, speed, and practicality. While Lusitania and Mauretania prioritized speed, and the Titanic's sisters highlighted opulence, Aquitania was the perfect balance of both. Designed by Arthur Joseph Davis, Aquitania's interiors were nothing short of floating Edwardian mansions. This ship was all about refinement. Grand ballrooms, luxurious cabins, and even amenities like swimming pools reflected the pinnacle of early 20th century luxury travel. But Aquitania was not just about luxury, it was versatile. Unlike her peers, this ship had an impressive adaptability. During World War I, Aquitania transitioned into a hospital ship and later a troop transport. Dubbed the most useful ship in history, Aquitania proved her resilience and versatility in times of war and peace alike. What made Aquitania revolutionary was her longevity. Commissioned for 36 years of service, she survived 2 world wars and remained an icon of the golden age of ocean liners. Her design influenced the next generation of ships, combining elegance and durability in a way that few vessels could replicate. She was even dubbed Ship Beautiful. And with Aquitania, the curtain closes on part 2 of our exploration of the evolution of ocean liners. From the groundbreaking Lusitania that paved the way for speed, to the Titanic that showed peak luxury, and Vaterland to the refined elegance of Aquitania has left a mark, shaping the way we view luxury, power, and innovation on the seas. The 20th century was the big economic boom in transportation, with ships being even more reliable, safer, powerful than the other. But while ships dominated the way we travel, a new type of vehicle was created, and soon it would become the new king of transportation. 2 inventive brothers, known as the Wright brothers, came together in their humble workshop and crafted the world's first ever